Breaking news out of Virginia suggests Donald Trump's administration may have just crossed a dangerous line, weaponizing federal prosecution against one of his most prominent critics. In a stunning development that's sending shockwaves through the legal and political world, news has broken that Letitia James, the New York State Attorney General, has been indicted in the Eastern District of Virginia. The charge? One count of bank fraud. And the prosecutor behind this indictment? Lindsay Halligan, a U.S. attorney appointed by Donald Trump. What makes this case so explosive? According to the legal breakdown provided in the news, this indictment comes despite significant internal opposition from career prosecutors. The video reveals that an 18-plus-year veteran prosecutor named Elizabeth Usey, who had been investigating the allegations against James, reportedly concluded there wasn't even probable cause to move forward, let alone a prosecutable case. So, what exactly is Letitia James accused of? The allegations reportedly involve paperwork she filled out to obtain a mortgage to help her niece purchase a home in Virginia. Bank fraud carries a maximum sentence of up to 30 years in federal prison, though the speaker in the video notes that federal sentencing guidelines would likely bring any potential sentence far below that maximum, possibly even making it probation eligible. But here's where things get really interesting. This indictment comes just days after James Comey, the former FBI director, was also indicted and arraigned in the same jurisdiction. During his arraignment in Alexandria, Virginia, Comey's legal team announced they would be fighting the charges on grounds of vindictive prosecution, among other defenses. The timing is raising serious red flags. How does an indictment happen when the lead prosecutor investigating the case concluded there wasn't even enough evidence to bring charges? The speaker in the video, a former federal prosecutor with 30 years of experience, explains that an indictment is only as good as the ethics of the prosecutor presenting evidence to the grand jury. The video references past cases of grand jury abuse, including the Breonna Taylor case, and suggests that an unethical prosecutor could, in the speaker's words, indict a ham sandwich. Now, critics might ask, doesn't a grand jury vote legitimize the charges? After all, grand jurors are citizens who reviewed evidence and decided to indict. But the legal analysis in the video pushes back hard on this assumption, arguing that the grand jury process depends entirely on what evidence the prosecutor chooses to present and how they present it. What's the smoking gun evidence of vindictive prosecution? According to the video, it comes straight from Donald Trump himself. The Wall Street Journal reportedly revealed that Trump sent what was supposed to be a private direct message to Attorney General Pam Bondi, but accidentally posted it publicly. In that message, Trump allegedly wrote about reviewing statements saying all talk, no action, nothing's being done. He specifically named Comey, Adam Schiff, and Letitia, calling them guilty as hell, and complaining that nothing is going to be done. The message gets more revealing. Trump allegedly wrote about firing a Democratic-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia, calling him a woke rhino who wasn't going to do his job, and praised Lindsay Halligan as a great lawyer. Most damning, according to the legal analysis, Trump reportedly stated, "We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice, indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now." The speaker in the video points out something striking about this language. Trump doesn't typically admit publicly that his reputation or credibility is suffering. Everything is usually the best in history when he speaks publicly. This private message, now public, reveals a different motivation entirely. The video argues that prosecutions should be based on evidence and law, not on protecting a president's reputation. The legal expert in the video believes this evidence is so compelling that judges are likely to dismiss these cases before trial. They predict that Letitia James, like James Comey, will file robust motions to dismiss based on vindictive prosecution, and those motions stand a strong chance of success. So what happens if a federal judge does dismiss the case? The video suggests Trump will likely attack that judge as a radical left-wing lunatic, following his established pattern of criticizing any judicial decision that goes against him. This raises a bigger question. What's the point of these prosecutions if they're built on such shaky legal ground and likely to be dismissed? The speaker in the video offers a chilling analysis. They suggest that for Trump, the point is fear and intimidation, making examples of perceived enemies, forcing people into silence, destroying the perceived legitimacy of government institutions, creating despondency among the public to make them easier to control. But here's a potential silver lining, according to the legal analysis. If federal courts hold strong and begin dismissing these vindictive prosecutions while openly criticizing the administration's tactics, it could actually expose the limits of Trump's power. The video argues that even if Trump's appointed prosecutors can get grand jury indictments, if those cases get thrown out by judges or rejected by trial juries, it reveals that Trump isn't the dictator he believes himself to be. The defendants, of course, still suffer. They face enormous legal bills, sleepless nights, anxiety for their families, and months or years of uncertainty. That itself is a form of punishment, regardless of how the cases ultimately resolve. But if Trump's threats to prosecute enemies prove hollow because he can't win in court, the speaker suggests this could actually weaken his grip on power rather than strengthen it. The video draws a parallel to Trump's recent attempt to silence Jimmy Kimmel, which lasted only about a week before Kimmel returned to the air. The suggestion? A truly powerful dictator would have been more successful. These failures expose weakness, not strength. What does this mean for Letitia James moving forward? She'll face arraignment in federal court in Alexandria, Virginia, just as James Comey did. Her legal team will almost certainly file motions to dismiss based on vindictive prosecution, selective prosecution, and possibly other grounds. The case will likely involve what the video calls scorched earth litigation, with both sides fighting aggressively. The precedent being set here is extraordinary. A sitting president's Justice Department is indicting state-level officials who investigated or prosecuted him. Letitia James led the civil fraud case against Trump in New York that resulted in a judgment of over $450 million. James Comey, as FBI director, oversaw investigations touching on Trump's 2016 campaign and Russia. The pattern suggests these prosecutions may be retaliatory. For context, vindictive prosecution occurs when charges are brought in retaliation for a defendant exercising their constitutional rights or as punishment for past actions. Courts take these claims seriously because prosecutors hold enormous power, and that power must not be abused for personal or political vendettas. The federal judiciary now faces a critical test. Will judges stand firm against what the video characterizes as politically motivated prosecutions? Will they demand that the government demonstrate these cases are based on evidence and legitimate law enforcement purposes rather than revenge? The coming months will reveal whether the judicial branch can serve as an effective check on executive power. What do you think about this situation? Is this a legitimate prosecution based on evidence, or does it look like political retaliation? Can the courts protect targets of what critics call vindictive prosecution? The answers to these questions will shape not just these individual cases, but the future of the rule of law itself. This story is rapidly developing, and there will undoubtedly be more twists and turns as these cases move through the legal system. The arraignment of Letitia James, the filing of defense motions, the government's response, and eventually judicial rulings will all provide more clarity about the strength of these prosecutions and whether they can withstand constitutional scrutiny. One thing is certain: the intersection of law and politics has rarely been more visible, more contentious, or more consequential than it is right now.
If you enjoyed the video, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos.